is all they are prepared to believe in.
The impact of Scientology practices on temporoparietal junction function and group identity. The Church of Scientology employs practices that appear to disrupt the function of the temporoparietal junction, TPJ, a critical brain region responsible for self-other distinction, agency, and perspective-taking. Repeated disruption to this area may explain the cult-like group dynamics in which individual identity is subsumed into the collective ideology centered on L. Ron Hubbard, the founder of Scientology. Over time, this creates a cultural and psychological framework where members lose their sense of self and identify entirely with Hubbard's worldview, to the extent that independent thought is viewed as a threat to the group. Neurobiological mechanisms. The TPJ integrates sensory and cognitive information to maintain boundaries between self and others. Disruption to this area can lead to ego merging, impaired perspective-taking, and confusion over one's sense of agency. Scientology's core practices, auditing, security checking, sec checking, and repetitive training routines, TRs, likely contribute to such disruption in the following ways. 1. E-meter use. The E-meter, a device central to Scientology's auditing sessions, emits low-frequency electrical currents, 0.071 to 7.1 Hz. Research shows that brainwave entrainment within this frequency range can interfere with TPJ function, heightening suggestibility and reducing the individual's ability to maintain ego boundaries. 2. Auditing and sec checking. These sessions involve intense questioning paired with e-meter use, creating cognitive dissonance and reinforcing group-defined truths. This can suppress independent thought and align a person's self-perception with the ideology being imposed. 3. Repetition and automaticity. Training routines repeatedly drill members in obedience and rote responses, bypassing critical reflection. This automaticity, combined with low-frequency brain stimulation, suppresses self-reflective processes regulated by the TPJ. Cultural and psychological consequences. Scientology's practices not only affect neurobiological processes, but also create a group culture where personal identity is replaced by a collective identity centered on Hubbard. Over time, members internalize Hubbard's teachings to the point where they no longer distinguish between their own thoughts and the ideology of the group. Independent thinking is labeled as counterintention or aberration, ensuring conformity through social pressure and the fear of expulsion. The group dynamic enforces a sense of oneness with Hubbard, leading to the perception that dissenters are threats to the collective harmony. Evidence supporting TPJ disruption. Studies on low-frequency electrical stimulation, similar to the e-meter's operational range, show that such frequencies can suppress TPJ activity, reduce self-other distinction, and heighten suggestibility. Furthermore, the psychological effects of high-control groups, such as repetitive ideological reinforcement, guilt manipulation, and punishment of independent thought, align closely with the observed behaviors of Scientology members. Accounts from former members describe losing their sense of self and being absorbed into the group's identity, consistent with TPJ disruption. Conclusion. Scientology's practices appear to systematically disrupt TPJ function, leading to a breakdown of ego boundaries and fostering a group culture where members identify as extensions of L. Ron Hubbard. This phenomenon is reinforced by cultural mechanisms that punish individuality and promote total ideological conformity. While the Church's secrecy prevents direct scientific investigation, the convergence of neuroscientific principles, behavioral studies, and personal testimonies provides substantial evidence for these effects.
Lower your shields and surrender your ships. We will add your biological and technological distinctiveness to our own. Your culture will adapt to serve us. Resistance is futile.